80s musicians who died in bizarre ways. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel again. Thank y'all so much for coming over. We are back on the Grunge channel. You know, people die every day. It's just something about musicians. Like you would think it would be, especially if it's like rock and roll, you would probably think drugs or something like that, but it'd be some crazy stuff going on. I'm trying to see who's all even on this list, and do I remember how they passed away? Because I know some songs I've reacted to, you guys will let me know, oh, this person passed away, and I'll be like, what? We ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
You might think that most music legends would be killed by some combination of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but these musician stories all prove one terrifying truth: that death can strike from pretty much anywhere. Marvin Gaye was one of the most gifted performers ever to grace the music scene. In fact, his career was so illustrious that he could be considered an icon of the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. Gaye made his top 40 debut in 1962 and brought Motown its best-selling single of the decade only 6 years later.
Because in this life, I love music, and music is my love, you know, it's all I know.
By the 1970s, he had broken.
I'm trying to think, have I ever heard him like talk? I've heard him sing. I know his singing. That might have been the first time I ever heard him speak.
In the Motown mold and became a political firebrand, but the decade eventually left him cold. Gaye mounted a successful comeback in the 1980s, but things suddenly turned tragic when he lost his life in a domestic dispute with his father.
Yeah.
On April 1st, 1984, Marvin Gaye Sr. shot and killed Gaye in their Los Angeles home after a disagreement became physical. The relationship between father and son had frequently led to conflicts, some of which escalated to the point of violence. Strangely enough, Gaye's brother claimed that, as the singer was dying, he said he was content with his own demise and even suggested that the fight had been rooted in his desire to take his own life. Marvin Gaye Sr. would later be convicted of involuntary manslaughter, for which he received a 6-year suspended sentence and 5 years probation. Kirsty MacColl exploded onto the scene with her 1979 debut single, They Don't Know, before delivering multiple massive hits in the 80s. Most remember MacColl for her singing part in the classic Pogue song, Fairy Tale of New York, but she also worked with legends like the Smiths and Simple Minds. MacColl remained a popular touring artist into the 90s, but the new millennium spelled tragedy for this legendary singer-songwriter. In December 2000, MacColl took her 2 sons diving off the coast of Mexico. There they encountered a 31-foot motorboat piloted by wealthy supermarket chain owner Guillermo Gonzalez Nova. The boat, which was operating in a restricted area for vessels of that kind, rocketed towards one of MacColl's boys and forced her to push him out of the way. MacColl was struck by the vessel. She saved her son, but suffered fatal injuries to her head and chest.
Damn.
Nova claimed an employee of his had been piloting the boat at the time of the incident, and Mexican authorities eventually found that employee guilty of culpable homicide. Eyewitnesses later claimed that Nova had been piloting the boat after all, however, and it has since been alleged that the employee was paid to take the fall for MacColl's death. For a while, Kirsty's mother ran the Justice for Kirsty campaign in the hopes of bringing some resolution to the whole affair.
It was a lovely place, but you didn't have to die. It's so needless.
And while it did make some progress, the campaign shut down in 2009 after Nova died of natural causes. It takes a mountain of talent and all the luck in the world to be a part of one great rock band, and Randy Rhoads managed to play in 2. Rhoads had co-founded Quiet Riot, although he left that group before they really took off. He then found a whole new world of success playing for Ozzy Osbourne during the singer's solo career. It was Rhoads who crafted the iconic guitar solos from Crazy Train and Mr. Crawley, arguably defining a style millions of guitarists would later mimic. Sadly though, Rhoads would lose his life at just 25 years old. In 1982, Rhoads, a cook for Osbourne's band, and a bus driver with a suspended pilot's license died in a plane crash in Florida. The pilot had commandeered the plane for a joyride without permission and repeatedly tried to buzz a tour bus as Osbourne and his band slept inside. Toxicology tests later found trace elements of cocaine in the pilot's
I
blood.
remember
After
this.
the fourth pass, he tipped the bus on the opposite side and it nosedived into the home.
Rhoads died instantly when the plane crashed into a house, snuffing out all the potential of his future with a single foolish mistake. Pop culture runs in
25 years old. Because you got that whole 27 club. But man, like, that's hella young, man. It's my brother Stevie Ray.
cycles, so it should come as no surprise to learn that blues music made a big comeback in the 1980s. And Stevie Ray Vaughan was one of the guitarists who helped along the genre's gradual fusion with the world of rock and roll. Vaughan was an exceptionally varied performer, perhaps best known for playing the iconic guitar riff from David Bowie's Let's Dance. As a solo act, he released several successful albums and toured heavily throughout the 80s, weathering several setbacks and remaining a legend in the field. Unfortunately, he died at 35 in a tragic accident. Leaving a concert in Wisconsin, Vaughan boarded a small helicopter piloted by a somewhat inexperienced professional.
Man.
The pilot lacked the training to fly the aircraft using only the information on his instruments, leading him to lose control after being briefly blind.
Where is the team? Where's the assistants, the managers? Like, when you think about that stuff, and you be like, that's why it's always weird and a little fishy to me. Like, you're going to put this talented, I don't know, man, like really listening to some of these stories, it's like, yo, what the hell, man? Stevie Ray Vaughan, an inexperienced, that's
by the lights in a nearby parking lot. The helicopter crashed into a ski hill shortly after takeoff, killing Vaughan, the pilot, and 3 other passengers. While many blamed the pilot for the incident, it was later found that the helicopter company had others available who were far better suited to the conditions. In the end, the company paid out a settlement of $300,000 to Vaughan's family.
damn.
Cliff Burton began his music career in high school and soon made a name for himself as a thrash metal bassist. In 1982, he met James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich, who convinced him to join their own up-and-coming act, Metallica. Burton lent his talents to the legendary album Master of Puppets, writing his name into the history of rock and roll, but his time with Metallica would soon be cut short. On September 27, 1986, Burton died in a bus crash in Sweden as Metallica traveled between shows. The driver claimed to have hit black ice on the road, leading the bus to skid off the road and flip.
And the whole bus just started flipping over. Everybody else walked out, and it's just like, where's Cliff?
Burton's bandmates were stunned by the loss. While Hetfield alleged wrongdoing by the bus driver, a later investigation cleared him of responsibility, marking Burton's death as a tragic accident. Toto are best known for their 1982 classic Africa, a truly iconic song that accounts for over 1 billion streams on Spotify. Toto were much more than their biggest hit, however, and they earned a devoted fan following for their eclectic range of songs and musical styles. Much of their success came down to the band's founder and drummer Jeff Porcaro, who was with them through the late 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Then, in August 1993, Porcaro died under mysterious circumstances. He told his wife he was feeling ill, went to a hospital, and died of an apparent heart attack. Officials decided Porcaro died from an acute allergic reaction to a pesticide he'd been using on his lawn, but a later medical examination claimed he had actually died of atherosclerosis. Media reports later suggested there had been some scandal to the musician's demise too, claiming his arteries had been hardened by decades of cocaine use. Porcaro's bandmates railed against these reports, however, strongly maintaining that drugs had nothing to do with the drummer's death. Teena Marie's career marked a unique moment in the history of rhythm and blues. Raised around black families and
I literally listened to Square Biz when I'm at the gym. At least, like once because I'll listen to a certain playlist, and once this song comes on, I literally grab my phone and put it on repeat at least 4 times. It's such a great song, man. Oh, man. Rest in peace.
California, Marie quickly developed an appreciation and understanding for African American culture. She had become a professional singer by age 8, signing with Motown Records and eventually studying under Rick James. Nicknamed Lady T, Marie became one of the most successful white R&B performers of the 1980s.
Yeah.
When I'm on stage, I'm not shy at all.
Sadly, in 2004, she suffered a life-changing injury, one that may have eventually claimed her life. Marie sustained a severe head injury when a large picture frame fell onto her as she slept in a hotel room. This led to a pattern of seizures that followed her for the next 6 years, including at least one grand mal seizure a month before her death. In 2010, Marie's daughter found her unresponsive in her home. Paramedics pronounced her dead on the scene. Some sources claimed that Marie had been killed by a prescription drug addiction, but an autopsy revealed no obvious cause of death. In the end, the coroner chalked it up as natural causes. Loverboy formed in a warehouse in Calgary in 1978. Bassist Scott Smith wasn't a founding member of the group, but he joined them after their first gig and became as important to the group's sound as anyone. Smith also contributed to Loverboy's most iconic song, the massively popular rock staple Working for the Weekend. The group was no one-hit wonder either, with other classics like Turn Me Loose and Lovin' Every Minute of It under their belt. On November 30th, 2000, Smith was swept away by an ocean wave while piloting his sailboat off the coast of San Francisco. He was considered lost at sea and is obviously presumed dead, but his official designation remains missing. The band briefly went on hiatus after Smith's disappearance, but that pause proved short-lived. Even today, most of the original members still tour as Loverboy, with the notable exception of their most famous bassist. Loalwa Braz was mostly known for providing vocals on the 1989 Kaoma hit Lambada. The track was a powerful cross-cultural success. Kaoma were a French band covering a Bolivian folk song with an Afro-Brazilian beat and Portuguese lyrics. And while Lambada was certainly a success in its own right, the song lived on in the countless other pop hits it inspired. Decades after the song hit the charts, artists like Jennifer Lopez have cited Lambada as a guiding light for their own work. Tragically, on January 19, 2017, Braz's body was found in a burnt-out car near her home in Brazil. Authorities labeled the killing the result of a robbery gone wrong and eventually detained 3 suspects, one of whom was the manager of an inn Braz had owned. The manager later confessed to the crime. Braz was 63 years old and still relatively famous when she passed, leading to an outpouring of grief among fans. Stiv Bators brought an unhinged, chaotic energy to his music, which made him one of the early icons of Cleveland's punk rock scene.
I come from a Catholic background, and it's made me a pervert.
He lent his vocal talents to multiple groups throughout the 1960s and 70s, and in the 80s became a member of the punk supergroup Lords of the New Church. Bators was nothing if not a spectacle, even breaking up Lords of the New Church live on stage in 1989, but the world never got to see what he'd do next. In June 1990, Bators was hit by a road vehicle while sitting on his motorcycle. He fell to the ground and suffered a head wound, but Bators had received far worse hits in his life, prompting him to underestimate the severity of the injury. He returned to his home, blissfully unaware of the blood clot in his brain. It killed him as he slept that night. Bators was only 40 when he died, but his life and music continue to influence the punk rock genre to this day. Tenor Saw was a prodigy of the dancehall and reggae scene, attaining immense fame and success in his short life. Born Clive Bright in West Kingston, Jamaica, Saw grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, where he honed his skill as a singer. In 1988, Saw signed a contract with RAS Records, which likely would have elevated his career to new heights. But then in August 1988, Saw's unconscious body was found on the side of the road in Houston, Texas. He later died of his injuries in the hospital. Investigators struggled to get in touch with Saw's family, and no inquiries were made to U.S. law enforcement concerning his well-being, and so he was given a county burial in Texas. Perhaps unsurprisingly, rumors soon began to swirl concerning Saw's death. Even today, many claimed that he was murdered, either by a deliberate hit-and-run, a savage beating, or some other means. And while there's been no hard evidence to suggest that the attack on Saw had been intentional, the strange nature of his death means those rumors may never go away.
Look, man, with everything we know is going on in this crazy industry, I don't know, man. I just feel like a lot of times when something just sounds weird and strange and bizarre, it may be more to the story than meets the eye. I just feel like, you know how they say you make more money off of the artist when they're gone. It's really sad though when you think about the helicopters and planes. Like there's no reason why someone, like if you got again a team and you're the talent, and you're this amazing talent, and they're gonna put you on a helicopter or plane with someone who barely know how to fly. That is just insane to me. That makes me think, like, what was really going on? You know? I know it's a lot that been left out. I know what's his name, but I don't know if you would call that bizarre. What's his name? Dimebag. Let me see some of the comments here. I'm trying to think of people they might have. Yep, somebody wrote Dimebag Daryl on stage. Sheesh. Dang, someone said Eric Clapton was supposed to go on the helicopter but got delayed and told them he would catch up later. Sheesh. Man. Someone said the Marvin Gaye story says it all about money and justice in our society. He literally shot his son and got probation. Man. I'm thinking of like Teena Marie, a picture falling on her head. Hey, appreciate you guys coming over and watching. Shout out to the Grunge channel for the video, man. Please like, share, and subscribe. Peace out.